Facebook gave Nebraska cops a teen's DMs so they could prosecute her for having an abortion. Hashtag delete Facebook is trending on Twitter because this marks one of the first instances of a person's Facebook activity being used to incriminate her in a US state where abortion access is restricted, following the US Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, messages between the mother and daughter allegedly discussed the self-managed abortion, but they were shared with the court by Facebook. But these are private messages using Facebook Messenger. So what does this mean for our private chats? Remember, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook are all part of the same Meta group led by Mark Zuckerberg. To discuss Meta's end-to-end encryption chats, I have with me cyber expert Pawan Duggal and Akshara Bassi of global research firm specializing in mobile and technology products in the TMT industry, Counterpoint Research. Thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Mirror Metro. My first question to Mr. Duggal. Mr. Duggal, if you can explain to us, our viewers, what is the meaning of end-to-end encryption? And in a case like this, where the court issued orders, is it all right for Facebook, which claims that all the chats are end-to-end encrypted and that there is no data that they are saving? Is it fair for an organization like Facebook to share such data?
I think when you talk of end-to-end encryption, it basically refers to that when I actually send you a message from my mobile phone to your mobile phone, it gets encrypted all the way in, to the final destination, which means that anybody who wants to go ahead and intercept it will only be able to intercept zeros and ones and will not be able to make any intelligent guess out of the same. So that's what is end-to-end encryption. But the problem is, the public relations campaign of the Meta Group is so phenomenal that it has been very successful in engraving the impression in the minds of the digital users that everything is end-to-end encrypted and everything is safe and you can talk to your heart's content. The completely contrary is what the actual position is. The reality is that today your messaging, whatever that's going across on the platform, is being accessed and can be accessed by the service provider. And once they get a particular order from a court of competent jurisdiction, they will have no choices but to comply with this. In any case, when you are on the Meta Group, please learn to have one basic realization that you don't have in any case privacy. Because whether it's Facebook, whether it's WhatsApp, they're ultimately monetizing your personal data that you are generating on a 24/7 basis. So please read the terms and conditions carefully of any service before you access the same, but be prepared. Whatever you are ultimately publishing on a platform and you think it's 100% safe, it's not 100% safe. It will still be accessible by the service provider. And once a court orders a particular content to be given to the said authorities or to the governmental agencies, then such information will find way. So let's learn to stop creating incriminating electronic evidence and putting it up on these social media platforms, lest this continues to be misused and lest we become targeted as a result of this self-incriminating evidence. People need to wake up from their slumber. It's time to be duly diligent and cautious and only publish what's absolutely essential on these social media platforms. Otherwise, there are chances that you will peril. There's peril of, completely getting away with all such information. And once this comes to the public domain, your legal business as also your personal rights could potentially be prejudicially impacted.
That, Pawan, because it's a very important message. I will come back to you, but what you shared is very important for our viewers because it is essential that we be careful of what all we are sharing via online chats. So this brings me to Akshara actually. Akshara, I'm not sure if you have any data or research available with you right now, but if you do, please share about how post-pandemic or when the pandemic happened, of course, the amount of online interaction increased, right? But now with cases such as not just this particular incident, but there have been several cases about how chats are being leaked. There is no, in fact, Mark Zuckerberg had himself said that he is planning to work more to improve end-to-end encryption. But he has products which has millions of users using these products. So is it okay for a Meta Group chief to say we are working on improving end-to-end encryption while they're already claiming that all our chats are end-to-end encrypted? So if you have any research in terms of what level of increase in online communication did we see, and what is your message for our users?
Sure. Thanks, Raksha. So I think this encryption thing is actually becoming more public day by day. And as the data is being generated more and more, so there is more issue for encryption coming on in. And what message I would like to give to all the viewers is right now that please, again, as the colleague said, read the TNC and make sure that when you are texting anyone, you are actually marking the encryption button, and it's just don't understand that the company is taking care of you. Read the TNC and mark those messages as secret. Nowadays I think you are seeing the disappearing messages, secret messages. Make sure you mark on that. If you don't, there is a metadata copy that is being stored in the Facebook on Meta servers, which if the company is being subpoenaed, they have to release those documents, whatever information they have regarding those particular users. So make sure once you're chatting with someone, it says end-to-end encryption on both the ends, which means no other third party can see. And when we do our WhatsApp backup messages, right? So make sure that metadata, and you are also marking that as a secret. If you don't, that's the copy that is usually being accessed by all these lawmakers. And I believe as this industry grows and the data being generated is more and more, once like the 5G is also in the picture,
right,
what we will see is that this data generation will become more, and hence this encryption news will also coming more. So we will see more news coming around. The companies are making encryption and they are making more transparent with how they collect the data. So I think it's good to question the company how they are collecting your data and making sure that it's being encrypted by either selecting your profile settings. So make sure if you haven't done it, do it so that this doesn't happen. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Akshara. So just to help our viewers, how can we, two questions. One is, how can we make sure that our settings are sort of set at that right level across apps? Maybe we can talk about WhatsApp or Instagram DMs or Facebook Messenger. And the second question is that while having an essential chat, if I end up deleting my messages, like, clearing my chat, does that mean that now, in the entire universe, those messages are not available, whether it's for, even Meta, like, will they not have access to any data? Or when you say that, there is some metadata that is available with them, do you think even if we delete our messages or empty our chat windows, even then the data is there available on some cloud?
Let's realize one basic universal truth. Whatever we are leaving behind in cyberspace will be there for a long, long period of time. And unfortunately, Indians are undergoing the great Indian vomiting revolution, where they are vomiting all kinds of information about their personal, professional, and social lives.
Yeah.
In this scenario, let's realize even if you delete your data, deleted data doesn't go away. It remains somewhere. The service provider can access the same. It can be shared with law enforcement agencies. So I think let's stop being naive. Let's stop trusting these big tech. They are here to monetize our data, and they are here ultimately to earn money out of our data. So if we are going to be careful by reading the terms and conditions and the privacy policy, just to understand how our data is being handled, or processed with, that will go a long way in our way forward. And also, whenever permissions are asked, don't give blanket permissions. Read what is the main objective of the said app, and then ask yourself, is the specific permissions that are being asked, is it necessary for the social media company, or the platform to have to give you the specific service person. So everything will have to depend on our due diligence, caution. Please remember, the golden age of cybercrime has already begun with the coming of COVID-19. And if we are not going to be careful, the chances are more likely than not that we will become victims of some cybercrimes, which could potentially impact my digital present and my digital future.
Very well said. Thanks for that, Pawan. Akshara, I just want to come back to you. Of course, we are talking about private chats, end-to-end encrypted chats, but Meta Group overall, all wings, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, they have been infamous or known to be malicious in terms of even controlling the content that we are posting publicly on our platforms. Like, the Ministry of, Digital Transformation of Ukraine had recently written to Meta last week saying that, while the Russian propaganda content is being spread widely, any Ukrainian blogger or journalist's posts and images about the war are sort of being undermined or underplayed by Meta. Similarly, whether it was the Myanmar genocide. So there have been time and again situations where Meta has, been questioned. There have been situations where their communications team has come out and agreed to a few things also, But as Indians, I feel that, do we even understand the amount of data that we are putting out there? What is the best measure, apart from fixing our settings, which also, if you can delve into a little bit, what are the few measures that we can take in terms of posting anything online? It's not just Meta, in the larger internet universe. What are some measures that you advise the users can take?
Sure. So one kind of message that I would give to all is be very cognizant of what you write and whom you are writing it to. So if you are making it, if you are putting your profile as public and giving it to all the public so that anyone can view your profile, be very cognizant of all the people who are around you. So just be very cognizant of what you write, whom you write it to, and whom you open your profile up to. So it's not that you just make your profile public, because there are all kinds of situations and people out there in the world. Are you really catering to them? So always, as they say in social media, cater to your audience. So make sure what you write is catered to your audience, and your profile is also visible to your audience. Don't make it a very generalistic one. So otherwise, it can be perceived by anyone any differently, right?
But Akshara, what about private chats also? Like, you're talking to us about, fixing settings for our posts. But even with private chats, right, what are the settings that we can go for when it comes to sort of making sure that our data is only with us? Do you think deleting chats will help, or are there certain settings that you can tell us about?
Sure. So firstly, make sure you select everything is on a private mode. Your profile is on a private mode in case you don't want to make anything visible to anyone. So make sure that every setting on your profile, starting from your profile picture on Facebook to your Instagram profile, is set to make visible to me only. Right. So the data is being still generated, but it is not being shared by anyone. So basically, it means only you can view it as per the TNC of the Meta company itself. So you can do these small things, and you can see that this everything which is public now for you will be becoming slowly private once you change these settings. And regarding the question of private messages, if it is selected that the chat is encrypted, then it is encrypted. The Meta company is bound by their own law that cannot be unencrypted. But as I said, most of the things, it happens when the metadata is there. So make sure once you do a backup, also select that the backup is also encrypted. So basically, encryption is the key. Anywhere you see encryption, please mark it as a yes. This thing has to be encrypted.
Thank you so much for that, Akshara and Pawan. Thanks a lot for joining me on this segment. Just a quick wrap. So make sure our viewers, just make sure you go to the star mark, read the fine print. If there is anything to do with encryption, always select option yes. And be very careful with all sorts of online conversation you're having, all sorts of apps you're using on your phone, because whoever says your data is safe with you and it's not with them, as Pawan also told us earlier, data is money. Everybody wants to sell data. So be very careful with what data you're giving people access to. Thanks for this. Archana, back to you.